This is Clint from the Doorway 2, hanging out with Bobby from 16. How you doing today, my friend?
Good.
All right, awesome. So I'm really glad you came here tonight so we can see you play. I literally just moved to Vegas a few weeks ago myself, so kind of fantastic coincidences that you're just here right now to be able to see you.
Perfect. We're coming to you.
I appreciate it. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about is a little bit about the past, the history before all this. I started listening to you back in Bacteria Sour days, like the Pushead periods, like
right.
early on.
You're on the mailing list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to talk about back in those days. I would say you're more kind of like a crusty hardcore mixed with kind of doom band.
Okay.
Now, I would say your Relapse days forward, you're more kind of sludgy doom, like with a kind of a southern kind of vibe to me. But like back in the old days, you reminded me of bands like Newthgrush, Cavity, things like that. Now, I would say you're more in the like Crowbar, I Hate Gods kind of vibe. I would say early Floor back in the days too, things like that. How do you feel the band has changed over, 20 plus years?
Probably the same as your life has changed. You know, I started this when I was like a teenager. So here I am, I'm 52.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so, you know, how has your life changed immeasurably, and same with mine. I think the goal remains the same. I think I'm actually getting closer to making come out of the speakers what I want to make out of the speakers.
Nice.
And back then I was painting with a blank canvas with not a whole lot of ability, which, you know, enthusiasm makes up for ability. And so I have always had tons of enthusiasm, and luckily my ability has grown to meet there, to fill it, you know, to meet it up. But no, you know, you want to keep doing this to make art, but also to keep evolving. Nobody wants to make the same record twice, the same song twice. Even though I think I'm reinventing the wheel every time I write a song, but it sounds just like 16. So, you know, it's a good thing to have, I guess. But that's the real
cool.
That's the real evolution of it, the dirty evolution.
That's awesome. No, I would say yes. Even from early days to now, 16 has a definitive sound. Like if you put on any one of your records, you're gonna know what you're listening to. That's kind of a very cool thing. Not a lot of bands have that throughout their entire career. You've had a pretty stable lineup for about a decade now.
Probably more.
Yeah. But as far as like the general public knows, how do you feel these guys are versus all the other people you worked with? Why has this decade been so good with these guys?
I think it's just like I said, a natural evolution of life. Okay. You know, I started this as a teenager or early 20s, and all through my 20s. Your 20s are not known for stability. You know, you're finding your way, you're picking your battles, you're doing all that. So I think, you know, this last decade with us, or, you know, 13 years, whatever this lineup has been, you know, we made, 4 records?
Yeah.
Each is a kind of an evolution, building on a stepping stone of what it is, but just, you know, overall stability in life. I mean, you know, we're fucking parents, you know, like, you know, we got fucking, you know, either rent or mortgage and jobs and just shit like that, but, you know, the rock remains the same, you know, and the inspiration remains the same. So I think it's like a practice now. Like it's something I just want to do, like as long as I can, you know, die with your boots on type shit.
Nice. Very cool. So Relapse has been your home for a hell of a long time now. What do you feel that makes this such a good fit versus all the other record labels that you've worked with?
Mainly because they're still in business.
Okay.
That's the main thing. No, you know, Relapse, I mean, we both started around the same time.
Yeah.
But Relapse's discography speaks for itself. You know, it's a certain time in my life when I figure half my records are made by Relapse of what was, you know, feeding my smooth brain. So I'm just honored that the people that still make the artifacts in the business still want to work with us. And what makes them so good, they're in business still. They put out a bunch of other great music, so we're always in good company.
Cool.
And I just really like, you know, everything's about relationships.
Cool.
And so I'm always happy with that relationship as far as, you know, we have our feet on the ground. We know like a band like this is not a cure for cancer. It's just a fucking band, but they take it serious enough and let us, you know, occupy our own frequencies.
Cool. So I want to talk about your guitar tone for a second. I'm a guitarist myself. I've been playing in doom bands for years, and you have one of the most interesting sonic tones that I've heard. I wouldn't call it sludge. I'd say it's kind of like if you mix noise rock with doom, in my opinion, that's what I kind of hear. Like if you put like the old and rep kind of bands together. Is that something that drove you to that tone, that sound?
I'm highly influenced by all the AMRAP bands, Unsane, Tar,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of that stuff, the Touch and Go Records era stuff,
Yeah.
Jesus Lizard, and, you know, all of that stuff. So it's a happy accident. I've always been limited either by budget of, you know, I just can't go out and buy a Soldano.
Yeah.
So I made the best of what I had, and then that kind of turned into my sound. Like I've had the same amp. I mean, right now I don't play it but I have the same amp in the studio as that I've had the whole time of this band. It's a 1993 5150.
Oh, whoa.
So I've had the same, and I've always used EMG pickups. So I'm fairly simple. You know, as they say, the magic's in the hands. But you know, now I play like a quilter and, you know,
Sure.
some other bullshit. But for the most part, that's the studio sound. That's the sound I've always used. And it's just like this record had the speaker mic'd a 1/4 inch, and the other record had a 1/4 inch in the other way. So it's really that kind of deal, like just happy accident.
Cool.
Yeah.
The other side of it I was going to talk about is your vocals. You have a like this snarl. I don't know how else to say it. Like it gets brutal sometimes, but there's this soulful snarl to it. Like, is it hard to continue over all these years to keep that kind of vocal style going?
No, you just
doing
it's
your
just
doing.
a muscle.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I think it gets easier. I throw up a lot less, but I still throw up. So, you know, it's you know, I've learned how to kind of inject a melody into it, but the intensity and all that, hopefully that's a button I can just push now without giving myself a hernia.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've made some interesting videos, and I want to say they've been creative, not just in the horror side, but kind of like visually. Are you trying to get that visual across in the music as well, or is it kind of a whole picture? Like when you make a video, does the music and the words already bring what you want, or is somebody else bringing that vision to you?
No, I figure like the lane of the band is the music.
Okay.
And then we work with a director.
Okay.
And then I usually give a director pretty much free reign, because that's the favor of working with us.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I'm in on their mission or visualization of, you know, and the same thing with art. Like, we work with the same group of artists we've always worked with for like years now. And I just send them the songs and the lyrics and what you got.
Cool.
You know, like I kind of want I want their buy-in, but I want their perspective visually. And also, I think it makes us a little easier to work with.
Nice.
I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a movie director. I'm not a music video editor. I'm a guitarist and singer, and, you know, hopeful songwriter sometimes, or riffs, whatever you want to call them, or parts. But you know, I try to give everybody that I work with creatively their own lane, and that benefits the whole.
Nice. How do you feel the videos have come out? Are they what you wanted at the end of the day?
Again, expectation management. So I try to, for the money.
Nice.
They're always, you know, it's a bargain. But like I said, I kind of let them do, you know, if they storyboard it or they give me their concept, you know, it's usually a 15-minute phone call, and it might, you know, thumbs up.
Nice.
Do it, and then how it evolves is how it evolves, and where it lands is where it lands.
Very cool.
So I try not to have, you know, expectation hangover. I try to stay pretty open to it visually, and kind of, you know, I think they get the vibe from the music.
Nice. So, being that you've been the constant in the band since day one now,
Yeah.
who and what inspired you to do what you do right now?
Um,
And I don't even care if it's musical, like anything that's inspired you to make it happen. So.
I had like good friends growing up, like a pro skater named Ray Barbie.
Okay.
He was like a good friend in high school, and just his overall kind of go for it attitude of, you know, you may slam, you may fall, but you're just gonna keep going. And so, you know, and like, what is it? Life is like going from one failure to the next with enthusiasm, whatever that was.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm kind of into that whole like, you know, just PMA till the end. Like fucking, we're fighting. So he was a big influence, definitely, because just the way he kind of always charges. And then, you know, there were definitely some musical heroes, of course. You know, like John Spencer.
Gotcha.
I watched John Spencer. You know, Obituary.
Uh-huh.
Bill Steer of Carcass.
Okay.
A huge, you know, like I always say, like he could play whatever note and I'd just be into it, you know. So like Bill Steer, Paige Hamilton, watching Helmet in the early days when there was maybe 10 people there, it was, you know, fucking blew my soft brain. Tad Doyle, you know, like watching Tad, watching Unsane when I was literally a kid, seeing Jesus Lizard, seeing all the bands we mentioned, you know, a bunch of unknown bands too. You know, friends of mine in this band Despise You and Bill Vera. You know, I played with him.
Bless you.
Fucking desert. Oh, okay, good. We got that on film. But you know, like those kind of, you know, peer group influences, and then seeing bands, of course, you know, growing up in LA and Orange County and Long Beach, you know, I was exposed to all kinds of great music at all times.
Cool.
All times.
Yeah, Tad, man, I love Tad, like especially early on, like.
Oh my God, Eight Way Santa.
Oh, Eight Way Santa and the two EPs before that.
Yeah, we do Stumbling Man.
Do you? Nice.
Yeah, so.
Very cool. And I was gonna say, like, I hear a lot of the guitar sounds of like early Strap It On kind of Helmet in your stuff too. So that's kind of cool that you said that. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't deny it. I mean, I saw that one night and I was like, okay, how do you turn it down to D? Okay, that's what I'm doing. So I mean, I saw that shit and I was like, okay.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's out of bounds that you wouldn't write about? Any subject matters? Anything like that?
No, this is heavy metal.
Okay.
I mean, this is hardcore. This is fucking whatever. You know, no.
Cool.
I you know, it's. I've got to be able to emote it. I got to be able to believe in it to sing it. So the words I've written are stuff I believe.
Nice.
You know, so that's one thing.
Cool. So go back to the early days when you were 15 and you had to change the band name to 16. If you went back to Bobby back in those days, do you think it would have been like this in any way, or has it been better, or is it just a continuing thing that's happening?
I remember being like community college and like setting these goals of like I want to be in like a cool indie band, indie metal band, and now as a 52-year-old, I should have shot higher. I should have said like, you know, cool band that plays to 5,000 people.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So, you know, goal attained. But I've always tried to conceptualize everything as fucking art. Like, I'm not making commerce here. I'm making art. Business is for a job. That's for other shit. I'm literally trying to make art. Like, shit that comes out of speakers that we all appreciate.
Nice.
And that hopefully other people get it. But, you know, I've mastered the skill of survival without this. So this gets to be just me. Cool. You know, and that's it.
No, that's awesome. If, let's say a kid was in a record store and you were in there and he picked up a 16 record, all right? And he goes, hey, have you heard this? What does this sound like? How would you explain it to him?
I'd probably buy it for him.
Oh, that's awesome, first of all.
Yeah, you want to hook them early. I don't know, man. I don't know, you know. It's metal, it's punk, it's rock, it's, you know, if they know of other subgenres, we can go deeper. but you know, I think we can stay at metal, punk, and rock, and we're palatable enough to get there, you know. And then there's a million bands like us, whatever, you know. Like, just to open your eyes. I mean, but also I had people at record stores do that to me,
Yeah.
you know, like that were influential in my life. Like, I remember Caton DePina from Hyrax used to
Okay.
work at a Z Records, and you know, him or this other guy, Big Frank, you know, I might have been 14, and whatever those guys recommended, I was into.
Right.
You know, I was into Bad Brains, I was into Back Flag, I was into Blast, I was into, you know, Carrie Nation, I was into No for an Answer, I was into Inside Out, I was into all these bands because those guys told me about them.
Nice.
You know, and so, you know, hopefully, I think art needs benefactors and kids need good advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more wiser words said.
Musically.
Yeah, no, I got you. So let's jump into the hardcore thing because you just talked about that. One of my favorite bands in the world is Bad Brains, so I absolutely love that you said that. How do you feel you've merged those two styles together, metal and hardcore? Because I feel like you've kind of moved more into the doomy kind of sludgy metal sounds from your more old hardcore days. But how do you think the two merge together to make this great sound?
That's literally the stepping stone. Hardcore is what I mean. The Bad Brains, seeing them at the Reseda Country Club, that was it. That was the seminal moment. I mean, a seminal moment in a lot of our lives.
Yeah.
We saw them. You know, anybody who saw them, it changed their shit. I mean, I saw them like I said, I saw them on a tour. I think it was the Quickness. And I was still in high school, and that shit changed everything. Everything. So whatever, you know, I mean, they're still that era, they're the most ferocious live band that ever existed. I'm a devotee.
That's
you know?
all. That's awesome. I literally saw him on the Quickness tour with Soulside in New York, which
Wow.
was amazing.
I think I saw Bad Brains Sick of It on Leeway.
Leeway was another great band.
Yeah.
I'm all
Yeah.
about that.
So, you know, us California kids, they came here and they just changed everything for us. Like, we saw them, we're just like, holy shit.
Very cool. No, very awesome. If there was one thing that you would want to change about 16, what would it be and why?
The name.
And why is that?
Because I would say I would pick a band name that was easier to Google or find on a streaming service. But then again, if I knew about streaming services or
Right.
Google when I started the band, I wouldn't have started a band. So here we are with the band that's fucking impossible to Google. You know, you need to type like 16 sludge metal or one of our fucking. That's what I'm talking about.
That's perfect, man.
Yeah, or you know, so I changed the name 100%. Other than that, life's good. I don't, you know, even mistakes you learn from, so I'm all good.
Cool. So here's a couple thinker questions. If they're tough, you can tell me pass, we'll move on, whatever. If there was one band that could cover any one of your songs and do it justice, what band would you want to cover and what song would you want them to cover?
I mean, our God, no, what's that song? I don't even know the names of our own fucking songs. Okay.
It's okay. Well, don't worry about the name of the song. What band and why?
Typo Negative.
Okay.
And we were already trying to be Typo Negative on it, so you know, here we are. I don't even know the songs off my own brand new album.
That's fine.
It's not Proudly Damned. It's Blood Atonement Blues.
Okay.
Blood Atonement Blues. There it is. Yes, that's. I mean, it's literally that was like the Typo Negative song. You know how all bands have like, this is our Slayer song. This is our fucking this song. This is this is our this song. Well, that was our kind of like vocally. I was like, this is gonna be hopefully my Typo Negative song. So them, if they could cover that, it would be like their song. Because I was trying to write one of their songs or vocally. I don't know what Alex was thinking. Alex was just telling me this: the chorus needs sunglasses.
That's awesome.
Just put on your sunglasses.
Anything Pete Steele did was magic. I'm just gonna say straight from Carnivore all the way up. I'm not gonna argue with you. Like there was a special magic in that band, so I don't disagree. If you could be in any band, what band would you want to be in? And I don't care what genre. Like what band would you?
I'm pretty good at this one.
Okay.
Honestly, like you know, of course, there's like, well, do you want a fucking $1 million to go play in Metallica or some shit? No.
But it's not always about that. That's what I'm saying.
No. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. This is the band. This is
Cool.
the band. This is like, we can do whatever we want. Like, this is self-realized. Like, we've been doing it for 30 years. This is the band for us. You know. So no.
Cool.
You know, no envy there.
No, that's good. Out of all your records, which one do you feel is most you?
Always the last one.
The last one?
Always the last one. It's always. I'm never writing, harkening back to another era or anything. It's always, the last one is literally my best effort
Okay.
at all times. At all times. Every song is my best effort at all times. Like, I'm not writing song 8. I'm writing song 1 over and over again.
Gotcha.
You know, that's the kind of effort and ethic that goes into it.
Very cool. So, on this tour, how has it been so far? What's the reaction been like?
Well, we're not on this tour.
No. I meant because you're doing a bunch of shows, right? Or is this the only show you're doing?
We just got called in for this show. Special.
So I'm the luckiest goddamn human being in the world because I get to see you. Okay.
No, we toured Europe in February for like a month.
Okay.
And that was amazing. And we released our new record, and we're on road in Europe for a month. And then we just doing like sporadic America gigs.
Oh.
Like we're gonna go to Little Rock, Arkansas, and play with our friend CT.
Okay.
And then we have a gig. We do have that acid bath.
Yeah,
High
I saw
on
that.
Fire gig. So that's definitely an honor. So I can't complain. But no, we're not on the road in America.
So
right
what the
now.
hell made you come to Vegas to do this one-off show then?
They asked us.
Really?
And our answer is always yes.
That's awesome, man. That's very cool.
Well, plus I really like glassing, and I really like Dragon and Sunlight. So longtime fan of those guys. Mutual friends and things like that. But yeah, they just asked us, so I'm not gonna say no.
That's cool.
Yeah, I would hope they didn't roll through our city, but this is an excuse to watch them.
Right. There you go.
And play a set.
I'm all about watching glassing too, so trust me,
Yeah.
that's all good.
Yeah.
So you used to be in LA and you're in San Diego now, right?
Yeah, we literally moved to. I moved to San Diego in like 2001, so I've been there for 20 years.
What was just change of scenery, job? What made you move
I
down?
got a job. I used to work in the skateboard business.
Okay.
So I got a job at like one of these skateboard companies there, and it was an awesome job. And I like San Diego just as a city
Yeah.
and as a locale and as a climate. It's just much better than LA.
Cool.
I will attest to that, and I think most people will.
No problem. Scene-wise, how do you feel they're different?
San Diego is a laid-back beach town.
Okay.
That's not always, but then, a lot of really good hard bands come from there. But it is a laid-back beach community when it's all said and done. It's not a very big city compared to LA too. So I think that's the difference. But I just prefer San Diego because you can get all around town in 15, 20 minutes. In LA, it takes hours.
Nice.
So, I grew up in LA in Orange County, and I like it. I go there often, but I don't miss it.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands of all time were San Diego, Drive Like Jehu. So
That's one of my favorite bands from all time. Hot Things. So we record at at a studio where they have Rick's amp.
Oh wow.
The PVVTM.
Yeah.
And we're like,
Nice.
that's fucking the Yank Crime amp. It's the Yank Crime amp. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Oh, I was gonna say those guys were a huge influence on me too. I saw Drive Like Jehu at the Shea Cafe and at like a friend's party and like one of their first couple shows, and they blew me away. And they blew me away guitar equipment wise too. That's why I started. Like John Reese used to play a Les Paul with EMGs, and I saw that and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play Les Paul with EMGs.
Nice.
And here I am. Still concept, still the same.
That's funny because when I met them, they were about to go on tour with Rocket from the Crypt, a couple of those guys. And he goes, how do you feel about Rocket from the Crypt? And I didn't want to say anything. Like, I don't really dig Rocket from the Crypt, but like Drive Like Jehu is fucking amazing, okay? And he's like, you're one of those Drive Like guys, aren't you? And I said, yep, you got me. You tagged me. He goes, and he gave me a fist bump, but he was like, I am too. That's what he said. And I was like, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So if there was anything that you could tell yourself from 20 years ago, now that you have all this experience, would you do something different?
don't do drugs.
Is that it? That's all there is?
Don't drink till you vomit. Don't do drugs. And stay away from girls that are into astrology.
There you go.
That's it.
Awesome.
That's literally it. Talking to you.
No, that's perfect. So I'll kind of end it with this, and we can kind of wrap it up. I just wanted to say, like, you have been an absolute inspiration in music for me. This is why I wanted to come out. When you said, "Hey, I'm playing here, why don't you just come do an interview?" I was like, "Oh, bell's on." I hit up Liz right away, and I was like, "Liz, I think I'm talking to Bobby right now. So can you get me on this list?" And she said, "Absolutely. You've been kind enough to do it. Please don't ever stop making music. I don't care what you do, what kind of music it is. Just keep doing it, because it's brought me through good times. It's brought me through bad times. It's brought me through times I just wanted to listen to some goddamn good music." So I appreciate you very much for what you do. I hope the next record is just as good as this one. And I just wanted to say thank you, man. I'm an absolute honor and a fan. So.
Thank you.
All right. Again, this is Clint from The Doorway 2, hanging out with Bobby from 16. We're going to close out now. Do you have anything you want to close with?
Buy our records, and we always have new ones coming out, honestly.
Cool.
We're working on another one. We have a record of covers. We have EPs. We just can't stop vomiting music.
Well, you keep vomiting, man. Thank you very much. You have a great one.
All right, thanks.